Be quiet down here.
What?
We need it to be quiet.
You telling me to shut up?
I'm telling you not to be banging shit around or turning the TV on.
How do you need me?
Okay. I started drawing as soon as I could hold a pencil or crayons, more accurately. I really didn't care for the illustrations that were in my coloring book, so I would do my own on the backs of the pages, and it just kind of carried on from there. I just never stopped. It's like I never go anywhere without bringing a notebook and a sketchbook, because I'm sitting on airplanes or in cars or something. I'm trying to work out a scene or a pose or something, or writing out some dialogue scenarios. But I probably have like 100 of these sketchbooks that are just full of things from 15 years worth of stuff. I'm not like a typical comic book artist where it's like somebody hands me a script and then I translate that onto images on the paper. It's like pretty much everything I've done has been, I've been the writer and the creator of it, and it has to have some kind of personal attachment for me to be involved in it, because it takes so much out of me to do this. It's like every single line on that paper comes from me, and every single line on there is there for a purpose. None of it's just eye candy. Everything has a meaning on there, and because it's so draining and it takes so much out of me, um, something has to be worthwhile for me to invest that much emotion into it. So, all the projects that I've done, have been like a real personal statement for me, and they're things that I've done for myself. Nothing has been, for just purely entertainment value. Um, for a long time I thought it was kind of like a therapy, or like working out all my problems or angers or frustrations out on paper. And it was a lot cheaper than seeing a therapist or something. I was born in a trailer, and actually got taken to the hospital like sometime in the next week, and my birth mother was so drunken out of it that she couldn't remember exactly when I was born. It was between Christmas and New Year's, she said. So they made my birthday January 1st. I'm the New Year's hope. I spent my early formative years in an orphanage and foster care. I didn't get adopted till I was about 7, and so I spent a lot of time with a large group of kids, and with very few parental figures. And then when I did um, go out to be loaned out to some families on the weekends, it was never for very long, and a lot of times it just wasn't a very good situation. I mean, some of these people shouldn't have been allowed to have pets, let alone children. And I think there was a lot of monetary incentive for these people to do that type of thing, where they would get $100 to take a kid for the weekend. So so when I was younger, I found it was best to just be quiet. Don't draw attention to yourself. Just kind of go over into the corner and entertain yourself for a while, and try not to bring anything bad down on yourself. And in fact, I'm sure some of these families that I went with thought I was retarded or something, because I never said a word, and I didn't interact with anybody. I just kind of stayed to myself. So as a result of that, I didn't have very good communication skills as I grew up, and as a result of that, I learned to express myself on paper, and which has worked to my benefit since then. I never had any formal art training at all. Everything was kind of self-taught, and I learned my anatomy not from comic books, which is like a major failing of the artist day. It's like they learn from an exaggerated picture, so they're like doing an exaggeration of an exaggeration, and so it's twice removed from life, and the muscle structure is like completely wrong, and the figures just have no weight, or they're not solid. And so I actually learned to draw from like Michelangelo's statues, just, classic sculpture, paintings from that era. I just kind of worked at it, and if I had trouble with one area, like hands and feet and faces are typical areas that most people have trouble with. I would just work on those continually until I thought I had them down to where I could put it in any position, and it would work, and it would look lifelike, and I could make it do what I needed it to do to tell a story. Believe it or not, I got like a failing grade in art class. I had one of those foolish instructors who, not sound arrogant or anything, but I was like so far ahead of everybody else that their typical assignments were just like things that I had done when I was a toddler, and so I just could not bring myself to do that. I was doing these big epic scenarios while everybody else was drawing a cone, and because I refused to kowtow to this instructor and do his basic first grade, three-dimensional stuff, I ended up getting a failing grade, which kept me from placing higher on the graduation list. But that wasn't anything I was concerned with at the time. My adoptive parents were blue-collar, hard-working people from down south. They didn't see art as any type of career. It was just kind of a hobby to waste time with. I think they thought drawing was the equivalent of playing cards. It was just something to do. And I don't know, it kind of reached an apex in my teenage years where I was forbidden to draw in the house because I was wasting so much time, and was told to go out and get a real job, which I subsequently had to do, washing dishes at a restaurant or working at the nursing home. And for a long time I wasn't allowed to draw in the house. I would have to go to the library or do it at school, and just in secret. Up until I was like 16, I kind of felt like my life was this endurance test that I had to get through. It was like, well, what more could be thrown at me? I kind of felt like God had his elbow on my neck my whole life. It was like I just had to get to the end of it. I had to get to the end of the race, and then, then good things would happen. And when I was 16, I met this girl, and she was like an angel to me. She was just, absolutely everything I had ever wanted. And I thought, well, I did it. I got to the end of the race. I got, for not caving in, for not surrendering, for, fighting through that 16 years of difficulty. I finally got to the end, and I've got the prize. And she was like the exact opposite of me. I was, dark and brooding and sarcastic and really venomous and everything, and she was like just like this bright white light who was always happy, and I never heard her say a foul word or a word against anyone. If I would like verbally attack someone, she would point out their good points, and so it was like I don't know, it was like positive and negative. We just kind of fit together perfect, and it was just like a perfect balance. And and everything that I had found, wanting in human nature, she would point out the positive aspects of it. So I don't know, I was really enamored of her, and I just, it was like meeting someone, and I just could not find any fault with her at all, and she was just like a shining light in my life. And we were together for like every day for probably 3 years, and we were engaged, and we were supposed to be married after we graduated, and she was killed by a drunk driver, and I was like pretty much just destroyed. Everything that I had worked for, had been working up to, was wrapped around this person, and suddenly she was gone for no good reason. It's not like she had an illness or it was something that was anticipated. Just like one day out of the blue, somebody decided to get drunk and drive down a side street at 70 miles an hour, and suddenly she was just gone.